Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Real women, real stories, real journeys, and no filter. Join Gina, your host, to share the experiences and stories of solo female travelers and advocates from all over the world, with a mission to empower women of all ages, backgrounds, and life stages to embrace solo female travel with confidence and enthusiasm, while being authentic and real, unscripted. Confronting the challenges and apprehensions many women face when considering solo adventures, providing inspiration to break through those barriers. Sharing how life transitions, loss, and trauma can lead to amazing experiences, rediscovery, and life journeys. The good, the bad, and the ugly of authentic and honest travel. So let's throw out the script, get comfy, and jump right into this episode.
Welcome to the show, everyone. This is the podcast for solo female travelers, Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Podcast where real women share real stories of solo adventures, transformation, and empowerment. I'm so glad you're tuning in today. Thank you very much. Every listener is very much appreciated. I'm just a very small fish in a very big pond of travel podcasts, and especially solo female travel podcasts, but I appreciate everyone that does tune in. Today, I don't have a guest. It's just me sitting here. I have loved the guests we had so far, and we've got some more exciting guests coming to us from Ireland, from Italy, and here in New Zealand, and I can't wait to share their episodes. And we've had guests from Thailand, from Albania, the UK, America. So it's just a melting pot of solo female travel empowerment going on, and I just love it. So today I just wanted to share a quick message of I was actually having a conversation with someone I was doing an interview for a podcast with, and I was talking about how I'm actually struggling to actually show up on social media at the moment. But weird that I'm saying that when I'm showing up right now on social media. But just that pressure to show up every day, especially when I feel I need to turn social media off because of, especially over the last few weeks, the stuff that is going on, and not just the few weeks, few months, couple of years, and I feel sometimes there's a need to step back and even turn off the phone, but then there's that need to still show up, and I'm struggling with how do I promote joyous adventures when there's so much chaos going on in the world. And it's sort of a bit of an ethical dilemma I've had going on in my head. But the way this person said to me that quite often travel is a respite, or viewing other people's adventures is a bit of a respite from the heaviness of everything that else is going on. And that really was food for thought. And, I myself, I'm heading off to Vietnam in November. I'm super excited by myself. And that too is a little bit of a respite from just day-to-day life. And so it's like I had this guilt about sharing these things. And then a FOMO of like, if I don't share and don't show up, are people still going to follow me? Are people still going to be engaged? Are they still going to see my business? And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that out there. But like, for example, I've got a retreat coming up here locally in New Zealand. It's just a 3-day retreat. Quite often we put our phones away for that time, or I suggest we do. Obviously for emergencies, that's different. But just to have that time, that breakaway from one constantly checking our phones, which we're all addicted to. Even I like to think I'm not, but the reality is I am. So just time to put your phones down, even if it's just for an hour while you're having dinner or anything like that. But another really interesting thing I saw this week, it was a clip about a guy talking about how Google has taken away our wonder. And I really, really loved that, because I was like, what does he mean Google's taken away our wonder? He said, we don't wonder about anything anymore. We have a conversation and go, oh, I wonder who wrote that song. And we're all on our phones straight away, Googling who it is. And I know, like, we've had this on retreat. It's been quite funny. We're having a conversation, go, can you remember that actor? Or can you remember that song? And because we didn't have access to internet, actually, having to wonder about it and think about it and then wait till we could connect to find out what the answer was. But it was that it's sort of a bit of like a childlike excitement of, "Oh, I wonder who it is." But this is so true. We don't wonder anymore. And I think there's some, I want to bring some joy back into our lives. This is the whole purpose of everything I do, is to bring a little joy, hopefully, into someone's life. So I just think, just keep in mind when you're tuning into social media these days, we all know the realities of what's going on. I don't think it's anything about ignoring that. That's one thing. I don't articulate my feelings very much on social media because, one, I think that's a private space for me. And there's so many keyboard warriors out there. I just can't deal with that sort of stuff, especially from people I don't know. So me not acknowledging stuff that's going on, it's not because I'm not aware. But what I want to focus on is bringing joy and empowerment to women through travel. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on. I've got a few fabulous trips coming up. Obviously, like I said, I've got the retreat here in New Zealand, which I'm super excited. That's in October. And then next year, I've got my Bali Bliss retreat, which is our signature retreat. That's just about full now. I might have another Bali beta meetup. This is where women in our community who have either already been to Bali or want to reconnect, they just come and stay for a week together in a villa and have lots of fun, and I just coordinate. I'm Mama Bear and take care of everything. And then I'm really excited to share Cambodia, the Cambodia Cultural Escape. I use escape a lot when I'm naming my trips, which sort of comes back to what I was saying about using travel as a bit of a respite, because I do feel sometimes they are an escape, and I don't mean it like we're running away. I've been accused of running, I use travel to run away, but I very much don't use travel to run away. I use travel to get clarity and perspective and some, spark back into my life, but it's not to run away. So that's why I love to use the word escape, because it is a brief escape from whatever reality we've got going on at the time. So Cambodia, I'm super, super, super excited about. I went to Cambodia, God, it must be like 9 years ago now. I only managed to get to Siem Reap and obviously ticked off Angkor Wat. And all I can say is, wow, I was having this conversation with someone who was actually living in Cambodia for about 6 months. They ended up, because you can get day passes and then multi-day passes to visit the historical site, and she got a 10-day pass, and the lady thought she was crazy, but she used up 9 days of it, because seriously, the complex is so huge and it is incredible. The history there, if you love architecture, and even the engineering side, is amazing. The whole history of that area, right through from Vietnam through to Thailand, is quite a complex history, and it's really, really interesting. So I'm excited to take a group, and we'll be visiting 3 different places in Cambodia. So that's in October. And then the next trip I'm hopefully will go ahead is the Thailand Lantern Festival, which is in November. This is also the same time of year that, like in India, they practice Diwali. So it's the Festival of Light. So in Thailand, it's where they set off all the lanterns into the sky, but we'll be doing 2 different ceremonies. One is the floating water lanterns, and the other is up in Chiang Mai, which is the lanterns that go up into the sky, and they are sustainable lanterns too, just FYI. We'll be going to a ethical animal sanctuary for elephants. We will be just visiting some incredible places. We started in Bangkok. Bangkok, seriously, is one of my favorite cities in the world. I don't like cities, but I love Bangkok. Starting off in Bangkok, we fly, give you a bit of comfort up to Chiang Mai, experience that amazing historic town, stay in some beautiful 4-star accommodation. Then we end the trip by flying actually down to Phuket, staying at a beachside resort, just so we can totally unwind. And also it gives a really good example of all of Thailand, because it's such a long country. It's really hard to get an idea just by going to one spot. So this gives you an idea of the whole place. And we are, like I said, 4-star accommodation. We are flying everywhere, so not long train trips. So there are 2 trips I'm super excited to bring for 2026. So if you're interested, please reach out. So I'm going to still be sharing and just keep that idea of using travel as a respite in this crazy, crazy world at the moment. But I can't wait to share some really cool interviews coming up. One is an amazing lady who's invented an app for travel safety for women. I have another friend who is joining us, sharing her expat, not so much, she's not quite an expat and not quite a digital nomad, so that area in the middle of living in Thailand and Cambodia. And also another good friend of mine who has New Zealand adventures and her crazy adventures she's had in the past and how people and connection are so important in travel. So please stay tuned. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Keep me on air, please. It's a real brave thing, me coming out here and doing this. So because I'm not a natural speaker, you probably guessed that by now. So I really appreciate, like I said, everybody that tunes in and shows up, and every one of my subscribers. Thank you so much. And if you're interested in solo female travel or have a story to share, please reach out. I'd love to have you on the show. In the meantime, remember, it's never too late to unleash your wanderlust. Join us on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Please share the love by liking, commenting, or subscribing, or join us in our Facebook community.